Hello, everyone. I'm Scotty T. This is your Comedy Minute, and I have a fantastic comedian, podcaster, producer. Damon Monday is here. Damon, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here. Happy to be a part of the Comedy Minute, baby.
Yeah, well, I said to you off air, we're recording this on a Monday, so you should be at the top of your game.
Listen, Mondays are dope. Mondays have been dope.
That's your podcast. We're going to get to that, but yeah, I was thinking about that. I think Damon Friday would be you'd be through the roof. Or
That's my OnlyFans
Damon
handle.
Saturday
Damon Friday is my OnlyFans page.
is what?
That's my OnlyFans page, Damon Friday.
Oh, really? OnlyFans. Okay.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
look,
yeah, yeah.
I read the interview. I take a lot of research, do a lot of research. I read the interview with you. Do you mind telling everybody how you started in the entertainment business? Because it was not originally comedy, was it?
Right. So, when I was a senior in high school, I had been to a couple shows locally. There was a battle of the bands at another high school in my city. So I went to my assistant principal and I was like, "Hey, man, can we throw a rock show here? I think it'd be really cool. Our school had a guitar and percussion class. There was a handful of bands that were at the school. So I said I would book two bands from the school, two bands from the neighborhood, and then two bands that I really like that I think would be cool to have there. And he kind of ran me through the ringer, wanted me to bring in a business plan, tell him exactly how I was going to do it, I had to make a flyer, get everything organized.
Right.
And then when the day finally came, I made couple $100 and I
Yeah.
was excited and then found out that because the event was held on school property, it was technically a fundraiser for the school and I had to donate the money back to the school. But
You couldn't keep the money. All right. Oh man.
right, right. But when I was in that auditorium and I saw people in there and at the end of the night, I thought to myself, you know what, dude, I'm not going to college. I'm doing this for the rest of my life.
Okay. Well, that's what I thought because you not only do comedy but you produce shows,
Hmm.
right? In other words,
Yeah.
I watched a lot of stuff today, and we got a lot to cover with your podcast and everything. But I mean, it's you are you a musician, dubstep stuff or something?
So I myself am not a musician. I am a event promoter.
Okay.
It went from so when I started throwing the parties in high school, it was rock music. There was a little bit of a transition into electronic music just because that's what was really popular. Around the time I was 18, and I was going to a lot of raves, a lot of festivals.
Right.
Then it turned into hip hop music. I was working with rappers, producing music videos and stuff like that. But the main music journey has been mostly electronic music. The
Okay.
last 4 or 5 years has been mainly dubstep, which was the end goal for me. Which was the end goal for me. If it wasn't rock and roll, it was going to be dubstep.
Okay. I believe you really like mushrooms.
Indeed, I do. Indeed, I do. Anything that comes from the ground, anything that the Aztecs were doing, I want parts of it.
I you're not first off for people that don't know, we've never met
No, sir.
other than a few minutes ago.
Hmm.
And I'm 63. But someone that's very close to me loves mushrooms. They grow them. They've tried me to get to eat them, and I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding
And
you.
how's that going? How's that going? You haven't tried it yet?
No, hell no. I did acid one time. Felt like a tractor was
What
starting
year was
up.
that?
You weren't even born. Stop it. Stop it.
Oh
No,
man.
because
Was it
you
was it
know.
just like an after school activity? Or was it like you guys were going to a concert? What was going on?
No, I like I said, and it's funny. Now let's review. I'm 63.
Hmm.
Imagine back in the day, acid and microdot and that stuff. It was totally different.
Yeah.
You know, I
No,
like I said,
100%,
I don't
100%.
want to elaborate. This is called your comedy minute. It's not Scotty T. So stop it. Just
Copy me,
stop it. You're
copy me.
pissing me off. Um, no, I'm kidding you. You mentioned your podcast.
Mhm.
It's called Mondays Are Dope.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I really learned a lot. Now that I knew something about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
420
You
and
know, and no, go ahead, go ahead.
no. It's go ahead. You tell everybody because I went back and watched some of your early ones where people were sending in packages, gifts,
Okay.
unboxing of stuff to you.
Yeah. Yep.
Glue
Oh
for a
yeah, no, I
blunt,
would
glue
I got all
for a
kinds of
blunt.
things. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It
And you
was
may not believe this. I have smoked a blunt or two,
oh hell yeah.
and
Hell
they
yeah. No,
slobber
I
all
like
over.
glue.
But
And it's gross.
You have glue. No, you're not smoking spit.
No, sir. No, we're not smoking spit. Amen. Shout
Right,
out Glue Guard. It's a Glue Guard's the company. Shout out to my girl Tanya. She came to a show during COVID, a
right.
show that I was working on. It was a Hempers comedy show. And we had originally booked Stoner Rob for the show. Stoner
Right.
Rob, uh, very popular comic in the both in comedy and in the stoner scene. But he ended up canceling that day. And this girl with her business partners that came to the show, they said, "Hey, we brought some stuff for Stoner Rob, but you were really funny, bro. He's not here. Here, we want to give this to you." So she gave me this box full of glue gar, a bunch of cool wraps and stuff like that. I started smoking cigarettes when I was like 16 years old,
Right.
so I try to not do too much tobacco. So when she gave me the hemp wraps and stuff like that, I was really stoked on it. And then also just the concept of using glue. It was like a little bottle and you could just squeeze it on. Instead of having to lick it up, you just squeeze a little bit of glue on there and you're ready to go. It doesn't change the taste of anything. It's made from hemp glucose.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know, and as long as it's natural, I wanted parts of it.
Well,
But yeah, COVID was
since
really
we're
cool.
going down that road, I wasn't planning on it because I didn't know if you'd be comfortable talking about it. But also watched you a hemp beverage thing
Yeah,
where you
yeah,
dumped a couple drops in. I forget what the beverage was.
yeah.
You remember it?
Uh, yeah, that was a Hemp Bev Co. I partnered with them. Also during COVID, they were sending out people, little bottles, and the dosage is 5 drops.
Right.
But I decided I'm gonna get rid of that dropper and just pour the whole bottle in there
Are
into my
you
Sunny D,
serious?
and let's see what happens. Yeah, yeah. So I did that, and it was a lot of fun.
It's a lot of
When I was 22, 23, I was house sitting for a buddy of mine who lived in this
okay.
really big house. He had a couple roommates, but him and his roommates, they were studying abroad for a semester, and that went into summer break. So these guys were out of the house for about 3 months. And the whole time I was there, he kept ordering delivery service for me, sending edibles to the house, stuff like
Oh
that. So
wow.
make sure I was well taken care of. And when he got back, if me and him both had a day off over the weekend, we would share 1,000 milligram brownie, and we would just take bits and pieces of it throughout the day, playing video games, and that built up my tolerance. And in the words of Joey Coco Diaz, it turned me into a functioning savage because I was still going to work, still working my internships, still doing shows
Yeah.
while riding the lightning.
Well, another friend that's again, I have inhaled and continue to inhale. And the glue with the spit and the blunt I'm familiar with, which I like
Mhm.
that. But also the beverage, they have beer. Do you know about the beer they have?
Yeah, PBR makes I think it's
There
PBR.
was
They make
one that was made. My friend told me you got to get this. It's hemp 420, something 420. And it
Mhm.
was like, I don't know, too much, a lot of money for a 6 pack. But that shit worked.
You know, that's the thing. That's the thing. Some of this stuff does get a little pricey, but you know what? The science is right. The
Oh my
science is
God,
right.
yeah. One bottle or two bottles of that equaled like, 10 or 12 Miller Lights.
Oh, indeed, indeed. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, they know how to
that
get the
stuff
party
had
started.
a little wang to it.
Yeah, exactly. That's some wang to it, baby. That's right. That's right.
Well, let's get on to comedy if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
How did the stand-up comedy start? And was there a catalyst? Was there something that said, you know, do comedy?
So I had young parents, so I spent a lot of time with my grandparents,
Okay.
especially when my
So did
parents were
I.
working at nights.
Yes, so did I.
And so yeah, so spending time with grandma and grandpa, watched a lot of grandma and grandpa TV. So when I'm in third, fourth grade, I'm watching, the Tonight Show with David Letterman, I'm watching Conan, I'm watching Jay Leno.
Right.
And I remember I believe it was Norm Macdonald was on.
Love Norm.
And
God rest his soul.
absolutely RIP. And I remember telling my grandpa, like, hey, these guys usually talk to movie people, celebrity stuff like that. Who's this guy? He all he did was go up there and tell jokes. That's pretty cool. And then my
Right.
grandpa told
Okay.
me like, oh yeah, a lot of these guys you like, Eddie Murphy, all these movies that they make, Adam Sandler, they were on Saturday Night Live and they got to Saturday Night Live from doing comedy. Showed me a Brian Regan special, and I was like, man, this is pretty cool. At the
Okay.
time, I never thought comedy was like an option. I thought it was like, oh, this guy's funny. Someone said you're going to be a comedian, and they took him, and that's how he became a comedian. Fast forward, 2018, one of my buddies, Josh Savage, and Abdullah Saeed, they started a comedy show. Abdullah, he's a writer. Abdullah and Josh both worked on Bong Appetit on Vice. There was another skateboarding show that Josh did. Abdullah is actually a writer. He did some stuff with HBO. He has a show called Deli Boys out now.
Okay.
They started a show because when Abdullah started doing comedy, uh, he wanted his own show. So I was running the door there because I had already run the door at warehouse parties, concerts, stuff like that. So they asked me, hey, do you want to run the door? So I'm running the door for about a year and a half. And people, as they're coming in and I'm checking people in, seating them, they're asking me, hey, you're a funny guy. You're always a lot of fun. I was kind of like the outside host.
Right.
It was a 420 friendly show. So outside before the show, everyone's smoking pot outside. Then we go in for the show. So while everyone's outside and Abdul and Josh are inside, I'm the one that's talking to everybody, getting everyone checked in. And they ask me, when are you gonna go up, dude? You're a funny guy. You should do this too. And for a year, I was saying, oh no, 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 this isn't me. This isn't me. I'm just here to help out. I like comedy, but I'm not as funny as these guys. Ain't no way. And as you know, I'm just around it. I'm a big fan of comedy.
Right.
Listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, The Church of What's Happening Now, Your Mom's House. Those were the guys that I liked watching. And I remember there was one episode where Joey Diaz was talking to another comedian named Eric Roca, and he was talking about, when you go to an open mic, the first time you go to a coffee shop, you sign up, and then you get 5 minutes. And even though people had been telling me at the shows, like, hey, all you got to do is sign up for an open mic and you could do it too. For some reason, it just clicked that night.
And you did
I
it.
went to the open mic at the Ice House.
Oh,
It was
wow.
a bucket mic. It was a bucket mic. I didn't tell anyone I was going. Didn't tell my wife. Didn't tell my friends. I went. I signed up. Put my name in the bucket. I'm sitting there. The second name that gets called was
Yours.
me, and they're looking around. Damon, is Damon here? Is Damon here? And meanwhile, I'm with everybody looking around. Where's this guy? Who's this guy wasting everybody's time right now? Whatever. So he's like, should we put the name back in or should we throw it out? They're like, put the name back in. So he calls another name, and when the next comic was done, I got out of there, dude. I got out of there,
Are you
and
serious?
I chickened out, dude. I was so scared of going up on stage. Fast forward another like 3 4 months. I'm on Facebook and looking up like Facebook events, trying to see if there's an open mic around. On October 17th, 2019, there was an open mic at a coffee shop, pretty close to my house. And I went there and I did my very first 5 minutes. I didn't tell anyone that it was my first time. Just kind of went in there, did my thing, and afterwards they were like, "Hey, we've never seen you around before. How long have you been doing comedy?" I was like, "This was actually my first time." And they're like, "Oh my God, dude, this is your first time? Like, dude, come back, keep coming back. We got to keep this mic open. It would be awesome if you came back." Then COVID hit. I got my first show booking that was outside of my circle of friends. March
Okay.
23rd, March 21st or 20th is when COVID shut everything down.
Right.
So when that shut down, I started doing my podcast, and that was just my way of keeping the talking going. It was my way of being able to hang out with friends and also my way of hanging out with comics. That way I can try to absorb some game until things started opening up, and then I hosted my first open mic November of 2021, and since then it's been with the exception of my wedding and a couple times that I got sick, I'm doing comedy 3, 4 nights a
Excellent.
week since November 21.
Well, let's segue over because we blew over it, and I want to take time. Your
Yeah,
podcast. Um, what's your podcast called?
it's called Mondays Are Dope.
Yeah, and now, in other words, the first ones I watched, it was just about you and getting marijuana stuff. But now you have comedians on and other stuff. I mean, there's a lot going on, right?
Yeah, yeah. When COVID hit and I was doing a lot of solo episodes, the the marijuana was kind of
Yeah.
sponsoring the show that I was doing. It was allowing me to make some financial moves.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, and so that was a big part of the COVID era, And of course, like I still smoke pot. I enjoy it. Smoke weed most days.
Oh no, no. I
But
just mean
the
as
show
far as your
itself,
the podcast is still going because you just put it out a new episode.
I
But it's
haven't put
more.
out a
It's
new
more.
episode in.
It's more now. Comedians coming on, right?
Yeah, yeah. After once things started opening up, I got a lot more comics on. It was much more
All right.
discussional, sort of interview like. And it was also just a way for me to kind of absorb game. Like I had Peter Berman on, had
Oh,
other
did you?
comics,
Okay.
Willie Mack. Yeah.
I didn't know
And
that.
it was a great way for me to sit there, listen to someone tell some stories about how they came up, do some comparison, you know what I mean? Absorb some game from guys that have been doing it for a long time. I've also had Josh Florhog on there, Willie Mack. I've had a bunch of guys that I really like watching on
Yeah,
stage.
yeah.
They've come and done the podcast.
Do you enjoy producing shows? Because you still produce. Like I went to your Instagram, and there's you got X number of shows coming up in the next couple of weeks,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Do you enjoy producing shows as much as performing, or because I have one person that was on, she likes producing shows, she's not that much into performing anymore.
Really.
Yeah,
Well, for me at
well,
least,
totally different than your circumstance.
right, 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 right. For me, I definitely enjoy performing more. My
Okay.
favorite nights of comedy are nights when all I got to do when I leave my house, I got my car keys, my wallet, and a little bag
Okay,
of weed.
so yeah, that answers the question.
Those are the best nights. However, financially, producing the shows,
Yeah, yeah.
producing the shows is what has made this a
Why don't you
little bit
just
more lucrative.
take a second and explain to people the difference in money
Yeah.
from go ahead, tell people. For people
So
that don't know.
so doing comedy, there's been time, you can drive out, spend a 2 hour car ride, you get to the show, and they say, "Hey, you got 2 drinks at the bar," and then you go up to the bar and they're like, "Hey, actually, it's 1 beer." So you take the 1 beer, and at the end of the night, they're like, "Here, I got you some gas money," and then they give you $10.
Yeah, I was gonna say you lost money in the deal.
You know what I mean? Or
Right,
you get
right,
there and there's no money at all.
right,
There's
right,
no
right.
drinks. You're just there for the
Okay, all
vibe.
right. So now,
Um,
when you produce
however,
a show,
mhm, when you
you,
produce a show, you can put a ticket price on there.
right?
You got people
Long
coming
story
in.
short, a couple
Uh,
hundred bucks in your pocket or more.
much easier, much
Yeah,
easier. And
much
then also,
easier. Right,
yeah,
right.
I also went as far as to start renting out stage equipment. I have speakers,
Yeah, yeah,
stages,
yeah.
microphones, all kinds of wires. So I rent that stuff out. And that's like another way. And it's mostly going to comedy shows. Occasionally it'll be a birthday party and they just rent the PA speakers.
Okay.
But I got stages, lights, and people will rent that out. And that's another way that I found a way to make some money with comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. Always working. Do you have
Gotta be.
and again, we can because you've produced a lot of big, raves and things like that. Do you have a favorite show that you've done? And because I'm an idiot, the least favorite show that you've done.
Um,
I got you laughing. That's good.
Probably my my favorite show that I've ever done was
And
I
and
would
and,
rent
and
out
you know
this
what?
warehouse.
Just to be clear, you
Mhm.
can do a couple. You can include comedy or just one you produced.
Yeah, 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 no, for
Okay.
sure. Um, I would rent out. There's this warehouse that I would rent out in downtown LA. It was called the Clout House. It was mostly used for weekend sessions, where you can go. It was a bit of a farmer's market for hippies,
Right.
and they would do birthday parties and stuff like that. But I would rent it out one Monday a month, and I would do a show called Trap House Mondays, where I would run my own hippie farmers market while also having it was about a 2 hour open mic with some booked
Yeah.
spots. There was about a half hour, 45 minutes after the open mic where hang out, mingle, enjoy the farmers market. And then after that, I would have a DJ come in and then we would party until 1 or 2 in the morning.
Okay.
That was a lot of fun.
Those are
That was probably the most
favorite
fun I've
memory. One
had.
of your
Friends
favorites.
would come out. Yeah, it
Okay.
was great. And
But
I was able
before you
to.
get to your least favorite, just
Mhm.
because I'm curious, she was on my show. Have you ever heard of the Ego Death show? Ego Death, Lauren Michaels, I think is her name.
I have not, no.
It's the same kind of concept,
Okay, right on.
only
Yeah.
it's mushroom based.
Fire. Fire. Just as much fun. There were mushrooms involved over at Trap House Mondays, but not as heavily as the weed was.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
was kind of that was my introduction to the mushroom world around that time. And
Okay.
since then, I've communicated with many Aztec and Nordic gods since.
Stick Nordic gods.
But probably my least favorite
I think
show.
there's a purple dragon getting into my refrigerator right now.
Yes,
Get
sir.
the hell out of
Yes,
there.
sir.
Something's
Um,
going on.
but my least favorite show, there was a local show that I was running. There was it was a food hall with a banquet room attached to it. I loved doing the show. At the time, I loved doing it so much. I worked at the food hall, so it was
Right.
real convenient. It was about 10, 15 minutes from my house, and I had a show there every week.
Okay.
It was called Thursdays Are Dope. And my whole thing was,
I'm, you know, David, I'm kind of seeing a theme here.
you know, and I'll tell you this, before
Hey,
Mondays
I,
were
I
dope,
only
Sundays
smoke
were dope
pot on
first.
days that end in Y.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
All of them.
Uh, but actually,
I did a
prior
hit
to
or two before
doing,
I started this interview.
yes,
I may
sir.
do
Yes,
I
sir.
may do one now because they can't see me. Maybe I'll do one now.
It's what I like to see. It's what I like to hear.
I
Um,
just might.
but on the subject of dope and stuff, prior to even doing comedy, I was working on a web series called Sundays Are Dope, and that was supposed to be a it was supposed to be an educational marijuana show with a focus on like tinctures, CBD products, kind of health benefits of it, mostly for it was to kind of incorporate it's when like legalization first started,
Yeah.
the recreational. So it was kind of trying to bridge the gap between non-traditional marijuana users and traditional marijuana users.
Yeah.
And one episode a month, we would do an episode where I would just get phenomenally high and just have fun and take bong rips and it was fun. But prior to that, it was education. But
Okay.
anyways,
Back to the back to, and I didn't mean to
fast
interrupt.
forward,
Least
yeah,
favorite show.
yeah, no. So Thursdays are dope. I was excited because I would get the crowd hyped up. I was like, yo, Thursdays is the night to go out. That's the beginning of the weekend. It's Friday Eve. Everyone waits for Friday, not me. I'm turning up on Thursday night. And I did that show for about 2 years. However, the rent agreement I had was not a good one. I racked up a bill. I told them, hey, this was a
Oh,
little bit
good
of a slow week.
Lord.
A
You're,
little bit of a slow week. Can I hit you guys next week? Can I hit you guys next week? And then I fell behind a few weeks and I was like, you know what? I
you're
can't do
painting a
this. I'm just
rosy
gonna put this show
picture.
on. Yeah.
You're painting a
So,
rosy picture, Damon.
so I had to put a stop to that. And as much as I loved the show, I was putting in a lot more than I was getting out of it,
Right.
which at the time isn't such a big deal because, I was just starting out and it was stage time and it was confirmed stage time every week. I can
Right.
have my friends on the show, my friends that needed stage time, my friends that booked other shows.
Okay.
When that show ended, I
Right.
was able to make a lot of phone calls like, hey, remember,
Okay. So
last time you were over, you
the
said, hey, to hit
networking
you
was
up and
worth it,
stuff.
but see, I was looking
Exactly.
more for like I just had somebody earlier. A woman was throwing her shoe at him. She just kept throwing her shoe at, and
Oh man.
He kept returning it real nicely. And then finally she threw it at him like a fourth time. Finally rubbed it on his ball sack. And here, bitch.
There you go. There you
He said
go.
she was
Yeah.
an old lady. And he felt compelled that he should do that.
Yeah. 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 There you go.
See,
Put a
that's
little
what I was
flavor.
looking for, but you're not going to give me that one.
No, 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 no. Not I'll
Do
tell
you
you
have
the
one?
worst
Do you have one
like a
where
bomb, like just a
maybe when
bad
you
show.
first started out,
Yeah, like a bad show. So
son.
or it wasn't even a bad show. It was a bad night for
Remember
me.
favorite show, least favorite? Yeah, the bad one, the
Yeah.
bad one. That's what we're looking for.
So one show in particular, I was out in almost it was just outside of San Diego. I don't remember the exact city. It might have been like Temecula or something.
Right.
And there's a comic that I hang out with a lot. His name's Zach Miller. He runs Emperor's Comedy. He was headlining this room. And the guy who produced it, he had seen me before at the Ontario Improv. I had done the open mic there, like a roast battle.
Okay.
And I was able to do a set there. And the guy saw me. It's like, hey man, you were really funny. Hit me up for shows. So when I find out my buddy Zach is headlining the show, I go with him. I'm driving him. Zach has MS. He doesn't drive a lot, or he tries to drive as little as possible. So I drive with him in a lot of shows. I get spots. So we get to this show. I get a spot, and I have the worst bomb of my entire life. It
I'm
was
sorry. I'm
the
sorry.
room. The room was rowdy. The room was rowdy. The room also kind of like curved, and there was like another section of the restaurant that wasn't even looking at the stage.
I
And
got you.
there was a group of 12 teachers in there all getting drunk. It was rowdy. It was my act wasn't working. I was pretty green still at the time, and I'm just doing
Got
my
you.
very best. And I remember my my closing joke at the time was this act out where I wear suspenders.
Just do it. Just do it. Do it. Do it right now.
So I would say, there's nothing better than at the end of the day, you get to go home and take off your suspenders. And my dad makes fun of me all the time. I wear a backpack, he calls it a purse. I wear suspenders, he calls it a bra. But I tell you guys, and I'd reach in, there's nothing better when you get home from a long day, and I would pull my suspenders out through my t-shirt and drop them from under my t-shirt. I would say there's nothing better than taking your suspenders off after a long day of work. And the room was completely silent, and this lady in the back goes, so it is a bra. To which I said, yeah, that's the joke. To silence. And, and from that day on for the next 3 months, I went up and I've always been very precise with like setting up my set. What am I going to talk about? What am
Right.
I going to transition into? But then I heard someone say, hey man, sometimes you just got to go be you. You
I
already
really
know you're
like that,
funny.
by the way. I'm glad you did it.
Yeah,
No, the I mean, I love it. I really thought it was great. But
yeah,
yet,
thank you.
back then it didn't hit.
Right, right.
Yeah, no, I get
And
it.
but he was like, sometimes your act doesn't work. You just got to go be funny. You got to
Yeah.
go be you. That's who Damon is.
Yeah.
So for the next 3 months, I didn't write down anything before I went up, unless it was like a bigger show or if
Okay.
if it was like a gig that I really wanted to do extra good on. I would of course plan out my set, but I stopped rigorously writing it out. I stopped being so committed to the transitions
More free
that I
form
was
now.
on. It was Zach that broke it down for me. He said, your jokes are cones. You set up your cones, put on your roller skates, you skate around the cones.
And then
Eventually,
yeah,
you're on one foot going around the cones. After that, the cones are everywhere. All you got to do is
there you go.
touch the cone here,
That's
touch the
cool.
cone there.
That's cool.
And then once you get to a certain point, you're floating over the cones because the cones are you. So for the next 3 months, I just focused on be me. The jokes are there. You know you're funny. You're still early on, but go in there with
Yeah.
jump in the fire a little bit. Be
Yeah.
scared. Learn from the fire.
Well,
So
you are
that was the
funny.
worst show. That
You are
was the worst
funny
bomb
as
of my
hell.
life.
You are funny as hell. I think you're great.
Oh, thanks,
And we
man.
mentioned Peter Berman, and I want to make sure we pay homage to Peter for coming on my show. And he got me in touch with you, so therefore you're in automatically. Okay, in
Right on.
automatically. I don't care. you're in automatically, and you are funny as hell. And what I want you to come back, okay, another time, and
Yeah.
keep me abreast of what you got doing because you are. I think I've never met anyone that moves and shakes like you do.
Oh,
You
thank you.
you you know you run. Well, again, part of it's I read the interview. You know, you've always been the guy. Where what's happening, where go. You know, that's well. Look, it's been an honor to meet you. But we have one
You as
more
well.
thing we have to do, and you're going to come back, okay?
Mhm.
I want you to come back. But we have one more thing that you have to do for me.
Okay.
You know what it is?
It's the
Yes, you do.
comedy minute.
You better know it's called Your Comedy Minute for a reason. Damon Monday, Your Comedy Minute. Go ahead, my friend.
What's up, man? I grew up in Pasadena. I grew up in
Right.
Pasadena, and this is a joke, or I have a joke about Pasadena that I've actually been doing since high school.
Right. No, I
Um,
know it. I know it.
and you know, looking like this, being a light-skinned kid, although I'm Mexican, growing up in Pasadena, everyone always assumed I was white. Uh, I always went to I went to a nice school and stuff, but you know, people don't know that there's a little bit of that things get a little real once you go north of the 210 freeway,
Right.
and that's where I grew up. So I remember when I would go out when I was in high school, and it eventually turned into something that I kept in my act. I would tell people, you want to argue with me, say there's no hood part of Pasadena, there's nothing cracking north of the freeway. Well, if you want to argue with me, I dare you to go argue with Dr. Dre and Tupac,
Right.
because in the song California Love, they at the end of the song they list
Yep.
all the hood cities. They say, LA's up in here. The very first city, they say Pasadena. Where you at? And I've been right there the whole time.
Right. Right.
I've been right there the whole time. So that's my, and then eventually it turned into, that would just be something that I would tell people like, hey, you think I'm just this nice kid coming from Pasadena? Watch me jump in the mosh pit, dude. I had to fight with, I got jumped when I was in high school. You know what I mean? I would get jumped by kids, and because I was hanging out with a different skate crew or a different metal crew, I know what's going on. You can't tell me that the Pasadena is just the Rose Bowl in Old Town. You know what I mean?
That's the team.
Dr.
It's
Dre
the
and
Rose
Tupac,
Bowl town.
Dr. Dre and Tupac, dude.
I know. Well,
They
I didn't get past Mexican.
no.
No, I didn't know that until I watched your videos today.
Okay, yeah, yeah. No, a lot of people wouldn't have guessed, especially given what I look like and how I talk.
Yeah.
I also don't speak Spanish. I'm old school
Yeah.
Mexican.
And you're too
Old
pro.
school Mexican, Scott.
I love
Old
that
school
whole bit
Mexican.
you do.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so old school Mexican. I don't even speak Spanish. You
You
feel
don't
me?
even, you don't even have to get off work.
No, sir. No, sir,
You've
dude.
never
No,
been to
sir.
Mexico.
Never been to Mexico. That's right.
That's how
That's right.
Mexican you are. Oh, see, I do my research, my friend. I watch and do everything I can to make sure it's fun.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm so glad.
Cool.
No, this was fun, man. This was fun.
That's the idea.
I love doing this. I love coming and just talking game, sharing stories, stuff like
Yeah.
this. So thank you, Scott, for
Well,
even having
next
this
time, maybe if
platform.
you could send me some of your packages.
Okay, you got it. You got